When you prepare someone for something of this magnitude, if I miss something, that's something that I missed will come out in the fight, and that'll be something that Crawford can capitalize on. One more round, 3 minutes. I think the closer it gets to the fight, the more serious he becomes. I meditate, because I'm practicing Buddhism. My meditation is that I am everything that he needs me to be.
Morning. In the bed, you wake up very comfortable, warm, right? You wanna be different, you need to start different. First, get out of your comfortable zone. Las respiraciones, amaneces, calientas. Si quieres ser diferente, tienes que ser diferente a todo. Que te llenes de energía. Yo peleo porque me gusta. No amo lo que hago. No manches, qué rico se respira. Y obviamente quiero hacer historia en el boxeo, dejar mi nombre bien marcado en la historia del boxeo mexicano, en la historia del boxeo mundial y más que nada disfruto mucho de verdad lo que hago. Good morning, motherfucker.
Most of people think about him like he's untouchable or he's unstoppable or he has enough power to beat super heavyweights. Sometimes it's funny. He's a good fighter, but he's a man and he had lost.
Now you beat the guy who everybody was hating you over, and you say, "No, man, Spence is a good dude. I got a lot of love for Spence." You were so humble in victory, and you were so you showed so much class. Class that I never would show. I'm just being, and I told you, I said, "Bud, I said you're a better man than I ever be." And I learned something that day, the way you handled that. Where did you get that calm and resolve from?
Man, listen, man. I'm blessed to even be here today. You know what I mean? Like, God grant me the victory in war. You know, I gave the thanks to him. And Spence ain't did nothing but try to do the same. So why, you know what I mean, bash the man when we both, you know what I mean, trying to accomplish the same thing. We trying to feed our family, and we trying to be the best boxer and the greatest fighter that we possibly can be.
Hey everyone, what's up? So we did have some scoffers in the comments section. Thought it'd be funny to bring up religion and spirituality and things like that. But I thought it was a good opportunity to kind of go over what I've noticed in these fights. I covered this in the Spence fight as well. Spence was talking about a lot of this manifestation stuff and whatever else, and we had Derek James here putting his faith and trust in Buddha. It didn't seem to work out for Derek James, and here As you guys have seen, we actually have Canelo Alvarez. This was after the Bivol fight, of course. This is when Canelo got had trouble with his PTSD. I'm sure he was told to follow some type of new age type stuff, Reiki, breathing, whatever this nonsense is that he's doing, and putting your faith and trust in a tree, which I guess supplies him energy. Although he's not really known for a gas tank, Canelo Alvarez. You know, another thing about Canelo, when you put your faith and trust in a stock, you understand, it's weird. Doesn't really give Canelo that much confidence, because we know outside of the PEDs, again, you know, the corrupt judging, draining fighters, and, you know, non-disclosure agreements and whatever else this guy has to. Boy, he doesn't, you know, strike me as that much of a confident man. I've been saying this, and I will continue to stand on this. I don't see Canelo as a great that a lot of you try to claim and swear up and down that he is. I think you take away the corruption that has to keep Canelo afloat. He's a solid fighter, and that's still being nice. You know, on level playing fields, Canelo, he never shows me that he builds separation between opponents. I know that I also said that I was going to cover more of the stylistic matchup, and I've already kind of got into this. Your guy doesn't really have a game plan, you know what I'm saying? Against like C-level competition such as Berlanga, who's overrated, and guys like Munguia, you know, yeah, he can get guys to drop their guards, you know, make him think that he's going to land to the body and come back up top with a hook that kind of catches opponents off guard. You know what I'm saying? As far as that, that's like level 1, you know, elite skills. You know, it's nothing really all that crazy. I don't see Canelo make too many boxing moves, especially when he's going up against other elite competitions such as Bivol, such as Floyd. He doesn't really know how to set up traps and things like that. You know what I'm saying? Again, your guy has been kept afloat due mostly to corruption and doing crazy things, you know, PEDs. Whether he has everything stacked in his favor or not, he's learned how to drop the ball, guys. You guys wanted to bring up religion in the comment section. We can definitely do that. You know, I like that Crawford has always put his faith and trust in a real God. You understand, not a thing that was created by a God, and that is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He knows where his hope comes from, he knows where his strength comes from, and he knows who grants him victory. Crawford has always been a very humble man, and quite frankly, you know, when you do read the Bible, I suggest you guys all do that. There'll be some links in the description for you guys to go to, you know, if you're interested in that type of stuff. But, you know, typically what happens to God's people, you'll see that their stories mimic the bud. You'll see that the prophets and God's people, you know, that he chooses, they typically go through a lot of persecution and things like that. They never win the popularity contest, and Jesus Christ himself never won the popularity contest. I am not comparing Terrence Bud Crawford to Jesus Christ. But you'll see that God's people are typically more exceptional. This will lead to a lot of jealousy, envy, things like that. A lot of discrediting, and again, this same type of behavior was employed on Jesus Christ. You know, when he went to his hometown, his own people were like, is this not the child of Mary and his brothers James and whoever else? And, you know, they never gave him credit. It was like the whole world was against him. And like I said, this has been for guys such as King David, you know, King Saul. You had your jealous, envious type thing. You know, they would sing that David slew, or Saul slew his thousands, but David his 10,000s. And you got to watch out for jealousy and envy. You got to watch out when you get into that state of being in kind of a fervor hatred, guys. You know, and I'll give you a couple examples. I've come across this in my comment section a lot as well. But you guys swear up and down that Ortiz did better than Terrence Bud Crawford. According to your guys' eyes and perception, you know, you saw Crawford, I guess, get destroyed by Madrimov, which is laughable to me. You know what I'm saying? Meanwhile, I brought this up plenty of times. Guy like Munguia lands 170 punches on Canelo. Nobody bats an eye. Nobody says anything. Bud never in his career has had 170 punches landed on him, especially from that level of an opponent. You understand? if you guys are interested in Christianity, you know, what's impossible for men is definitely possible with God. You know, he used a child to slay a giant called Goliath. And having a Terrence Crawford beat an overrated Canelo Alvarez, I would say that's pretty within the possible, you understand. And that's too easy for the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, you know. Again, Canelo, this is a guy, we all got to sit here and play make-believe about this dude. Try to sit here and act like he's the greatest Mexican fighter. I don't believe that one bit. I haven't seen Canelo in too many real fights, guys. I question his resume. I question his skills. Again, we will do more breakdowns on his skills. I'm getting those types of requests as well, but I thought I wanted to address this aspect. There's a lot behind this fight. It's not just the physical and, of course, the things that are normally associated with a boxing match. I see a zealot group of, you know, people. Canelo is basically a golden idol for you guys. And again, it's to the point where we sit here and we act like, you know, a guy that relies so much on corruption, like we're really going to sit here and try to act like it's not possible for Terrence Crawford to beat this dude. I remember Canelo Alvarez, you know, this is how great he is, by the way. He had a significant weight advantage over Floyd Mayweather. And Floyd Mayweather was 36 years old, so he was an old man, you know. But regardless of all that, you know, I didn't see Canelo win one round. You would think if this guy had such elite skills, you know what I'm saying, he would at least won one round off his own merit. It's the same with Bivol. Again, I've never seen Bud get whitewashed in the fight, but I've never seen Bud in half the controversial fights that Canelo Alvarez has been a part of, and we're talking about guys like Vasquez early on in his career, you know. But again, you have a 4-round lead on a fighter. You understand the scorecards at the end claim that Bivol only beats you by 1 round. I'm sorry, guys. Again, I know that plenty of people today try to preach that the world is subjective, but you know, there is a such thing as the objective truth, and I think people that don't try to lie to themselves can admit that there's something wrong with that picture. Again, guys, you guys wanted to bring this up. I find it weird that a man hugs trees. You know, I find that a man that hugs trees and gets his energy from trees, you know, has the real confidence that you guys think that he has. And I find it quite odd that you guys even try to act like you have as much confidence as Canelo as you try to portray yourselves in the comment section. I do appreciate you guys coming by, and again, we'll get more into the stylistic matchup, which I will kind of repeat myself as I've already stated before. But Canelo, again, he's not a man that really has a real game plan. And when he does fight elite opponents, these magical pound-for-pound skills that you guys swear up and down he has, they really don't carry him, you know what I'm saying? Against Bivol, he became resorted to just a guy who could throw haymakers. And it was to the point where he couldn't even land like clean shots on Bivol. He was just really hitting Bivol's shoulder all night. And the commentators were acting like he was landing these punches clean while they're claiming Bivol's not hitting Canelo. You know, but I'm seeing Bivol land like 3, 4, 5 punch combinations on Canelo. You know what I'm saying? I saw Canelo get frustrated. And again, guys, he doesn't really have a game plan. We talked about it. His game plan is that of like a Deontay Wilder or Tank Davis. These guys, they get to fight at their own leisure in fights, and it kind of fools people into thinking that they have patience, that they're actually making boxing moves and setting up traps, which again, we will cover in the future, guys. But I just want to say, I thought this was very important that we cover this aspect, because again, I don't believe in your golden idol, you understand? And I think he's a false idol at that. And again, you know, I'm gonna go for the guy that actually pays homage to the Lord. I'm not gonna go for a guy who pays homage to a stock, you understand? They don't make the sport real anymore. And a lot of that is because you have guys like Canelo at the top today. Bud was a guy who had to rely on merit. That's going to carry him a lot in his fight, but also the Lord our God is what's going to ultimately carry Terrence Crawford. Again, we'll see how far your tree carries Canelo Alvarez. You know, he likes paper, I guess. We'll see if that works with the judges. It didn't for Bivol, didn't for Floyd Mayweather. And It worked for guys like Lore and some other questionable fights that he has, of course. But again, as Bud told him during their final presser, every time you stepped up, meaning in competition, you know, when you get to that elite level, you've lost. And that just is the truth. And again, I've never seen Crawford get whitewashed or anything. You know, this dude Canelo gives up a lot of rounds. But again, this new age Reiki type nonsense that Canelo's promoting, I don't think, just like Derek James, how Buddha was no help to him, I don't think Buddha or the tree's going to be a help to Canelo Alvarez. Okay, I will talk to you guys later, and we will get into some more, like I said, more matchup stuff, and we'll cover Gervonta Tank Davis Alvarez, his game plan, and majority of his fights. You know, again, when he fights the more elite opponents, I don't see these skills and everything else that you guys swear up and down this guy has really transfer, and he doesn't really build separation. But trust me, I got more in store for you guys. We'll talk to you later. Bye.